All right, we have a very special guest today. Not just another guest on the Skill with Pros podcast, but actually my business partner, one of our partners in the Perfect Clean, the residential cleaning company, Mr. Ryan Buchanan. And so, Ryan, so happy to have you on today. It's going to be super fun talking about your background, history, story, and now to what the heck's being built at the Perfect Clean. So thanks for hopping on, Ryan.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. Appreciate the opportunity to just kind of share myself a little bit and then, yeah, get into the nitty gritty of the perfect clean. So,
Yeah, awesome. So, well, tell for everyone that's doesn't know you, how the heck did you get into the entrepreneurship world? What was kind of like the first business, and kind of fast forward to okay, well, here we are today.
yeah, so I'm going to go back quite a ways, which is back to high school because I've always kind of lived by this principle, which is be kind to everyone because you never know the relationships you create with people and how they can play a part into your development. And mine goes back to when I was 14, and I'll make this story really quick, but I just moved to Farmington, New Mexico, which I'm really kind of from. That's my home turf. Four Corners area, close to Durango. Went on this summer camp out and took a hike up into the Highland Marys, which is outside of Silverton, Colorado. Anyways, knew no one on this trip. So obviously I've got to start making relationships because we're going to be on this camp out for about 4 days and trying to figure out who's going to be, sharing a tent with and sharing cooking responsibilities with and all this stuff. And a guy named Greg Nygren was somebody I kind of attached myself to a little bit. Kind of had, we were the same age, similar kind of likes, things we like to do. And we ended up sharing this tent. Well, when we got up there, he had packed a 10-pound bag of Jolly Ranchers. And so if you ever hike up a hill for 3 miles, every ounce weighs a pound by the time you get to the end. And so I'm just thinking, holy crap, you had 10 pounds of Jolly Ranchers. And to be honest, I think we finished them. But that moment of sharing Jolly Ranchers over those 4 days really built this relationship with us that carried through high school. And he was kind to me, I was kind to him, and we just kind of continued to build this friendship that really turned into a business partnership through a pest control company years later. And so my career building into that entrepreneurship was starting with Sherwin-Williams. I worked for them for, this is right out of college. I worked for them for about 5 years, and I was in their financial department. And it was good, it was great, but one of the greatest lessons I learned there was don't tell the customer what you can't do, tell the customer what you can do. And I've got a great story for that, maybe another podcast or something, but that ingrained in me to not tell the customer what you can't do. Do not use the words can't, don't, whatever, nothing negative. It's just, here's what we can do. This is, our options, which one works best for you, that kind of stuff. And taking that mindset and knowing, man, I can really create stuff with this mindset of doing what the customer needs and working for the customer directly, I think is what really got me excited about entrepreneurship. But I also had a father who he was a professor for a university for 20 years, and then he created a consulting company from his experience with being a professor, and did that company for probably about 15, 20 years. And so it was kind of in the blood. It was kind of in the lifestyle growing up in his house that, hey, entrepreneurship gives a lot of opportunities, freedom probably for the most part, but also just a lifestyle that seems to be fun, exciting, challenging, purpose, that kind of stuff. I like the grind. I don't mind working 9 to 5 for somebody else. There's some benefits along with that too, but it just provides more of this challenge going into entrepreneurship. So anyways, that best friend of mine, Greg Nyron, wrapping him back into this, he approached me for 4 years straight saying, please come work with me with pest control. And then he finally was like, I'm starting something brand new. It's a pest control company on the East Coast, but we're going to run it from Arizona. So you don't have to move. You can keep doing your MBA program that you're already enrolled with at ASU and work for me. And I'm like, okay, let's do this. And so I came in as the CFO. We took this company from scratch and we grew it to $50 million of revenue in about 13, maybe 12 years of just grinding with door-to-door sales, program, and with employees that did all the work. So we owned every bit of it. It wasn't just a marketing program that was door-to-door. We had that, and then we also had the actual service itself. And so we kind of learned both sides of everything, W-2, 1099s. We sold some of those locations to Terminex, Orkin, and some other pest control companies. So learned acquisitions and merging and how to restart a new company, and just did all sorts of stuff that became this vast knowledge of here's how business works. The MBA program I went through obviously helped as well. Probably gave me a little more legitimate clout as I was talking to different business owners or just the companies that bought our pest control offices. But for the most part, it was just experiencing and learning on the job that really, I think, built who I was. So I did that till 2019 was when I finally left the pest control industry. And really the reason why I left was I did not replace myself along the way. When I started, I was doing so many tasks, so many little things that I was doing up until the very end of being there for 13 years. And I just thought, man, I'm burned out. Like every sales rep that we've ever employed and gone through our door-to-door knocking program, there was probably 1,500 at that point, knew my cell phone number. So I'd get calls, texts, whatever, from 5 a.m. until midnight every day. All the technicians knew who I was and could reach me. And we had probably 600 of those by the time I left. I mean, I was at the mercy of everybody because everyone knew who I was from the very beginning to the end. And I didn't mind that. I liked having that relationship with those people. But when it got so big, I was like, I'm exhausted. I'm burnt out. So that was kind of the big driving motivation to leave, was just, I got to get out of this. Yeah. When I did, I kind of just took like a month off of just doing nothing. And to be honest, nobody really knows this, but I watched every Marvel movie from the very sequential beginning to the end to just kind of go, okay, I watched all the Marvel movies.
Relax.
I just relaxed. Yeah. And then one of the guys in the pest control company, his name is Zach Murrow. He had reached out to me the summer of 2019, probably around May or June, and just said, hey, I started up this cleaning company. I'm really starting to see some traction here, but I feel like we're not running it anywhere near efficient. And can you just come and maybe do some consulting and look and see what we're doing? And at that point, I had started a tax consulting company with my brother, because that was one of the ideas I had when I left. Was my brother, he's the tax accountant. I've got these connections with all these people. I can kind of connect him with these people to do, either tax consulting or just file their taxes and that kind of stuff. And so we were just starting to do that. And I think that's why Zach was like, hey, maybe you can help us from that end, from just the financial side of things. So I came in, looked at their systems. It was very similar to how we ran things at the pest control, but it was different. I mean, it was a different model of how the service works than pest control.
Yeah.
One of the biggest differences was we were sending 2 people out in a car through the cleaning, through Perfect Clean, versus one with EcoShield or the pest control company. We only sent 1 technician. So that was a different concept to we've got 2 people in this car, 2 people that are getting paid. It's not going to be as lucrative because we got 2 people doing this job instead of just
labor.
1. And so we had to kind of figure that out. How do we pay people an honest wage without killing our profitability? And so that was one of the biggest challenges to look at that. And the first thing I said when I got in there was dude, we are not charging anywhere near enough money for these customers. to afford these cleaners. Like there's two
Yeah.
people coming in there. We've got to compensate them. So that's got to be at least a certain percentage of our expense line in the P&L, and it can't exceed this. And that this was, it can never be more than 50%. Like we cannot be spending more than 50% to our cleaners in the P&L from what we're getting in revenue.
Yeah.
And we've worked that down to about 40-ish on the cleaning side for those people that are doing that. And that's all because we're increasing the price. So it wasn't, oh, let's cut costs. Like, no, I want to make sure cleaners are taken care of. And so did Zach. I mean, we just want to make sure the people doing the work get compensated, for what they do, because it is hard work.
Yeah.
But that price of what people are willing to pay just was nowhere near where it needed to be. And so when I came in and suggested that, Zach was just like, we can't. Like, these people, we got so many of them because they're paying like $125 for their cleaning every 2 weeks. I'm like, yeah, that's wrong. Like, or those cleaners are just going to have to directly work with them, and we're out of the business. Like, we can't do this.
Yeah.
So we finally figured out, okay, let's take a portion of our customers, let's test run a price increase, see what happens. When we did that, we lost 10% of the customers, just saying, no, can't pay it. Everyone else, totally fine. And we put them up quite a bit. Like the increase was substantial. I'd say anywhere from 20 to 30% increase on what they were currently paying. Yeah, it was quite a jump for everybody, but I think people understood the value we were bringing, the lifestyle we were giving, to say, yeah, I really want this, and I'm willing to pay for it. And it was just a matter of finding that customer. The ones who didn't want to pay that, we don't want those customers. Like, they're just cheapskates that aren't gonna.
Just want a group. There's like the Groupon people that they just want a Groupon to get their discount, and like then they're on to the next Groupon, and you can't ever build off that. So at that point, at what point did you then become the partner in the Perfect Clean? Because you're just like, this is like consulting work that you're doing. Then how did that? Obviously I have context into that, but for those that are listening, it's like, okay, like you're consulting, then what happened?
Yeah, so it was about a month that I was doing that. And, well, let me back up. When I looked at it after about 4 or 5 days, I was like, I want to be a part of this. This is a great brand. This is a national brand. This is something that can go all over. And the background of being in the pest control industry, of seeing it be national, I'm like, this is way more attractive to a customer base, because one, who doesn't want their house clean? Like, killing bugs and that kind of stuff, it's like, gross, I don't want that, but I know I need it. This is like, I want this. Like, I want this service. And to have this brand that looks so clean, I mean, it's in the name. I knew this was marketable to go out. And the way Zach had started with social media and that platform, and not having to do a door knocking program, I was like, yeah, this is awesome, because the headache is way less on that end of not having rep after rep after rep having to grow and help us grow this. So there was just a lot of things I could see right away that, okay, I want to be a part of this. And about a month after starting and looking at things and suggesting, and here's what we can do, it was just kind of that relationship of, again, reestablishing with Zach and the two partners that he had, of just saying, listen, here's the value I can bring. Here's what I can do from, administrative side, and also just kind of a vision side of things. What is it everyone else is doing? And I didn't mean to put anybody on the spot to like say, you're not doing anything, but I was just like, what value is everybody bringing here? Because if I want to be a part of this, I want to make sure that I'm part of something where everybody's contributing. And so from that conversation, I think it kind of made everyone aware that one of those partners was not going to do that. Yeah. And so that kind of helped transition one guy out for me to come in. Yeah. Here's another thing that people say. I'll just kind of go off a tangent here for a second.
Yeah.
People say, I don't want to be the smartest person in the room, or I want to be around people that are smarter than me. Yeah, I get that, but I'm a smart person too. And I don't think it's a comparison of intelligence when we say that. It's, I want to be part of a group that is contributing. And I want to see people contributing as much or maybe more than me. And so if I'm coming in with all this contribution of talent, money, I mean, I had to bring in money to be a part of this as well.
Yeah.
Then I want to see everybody else doing as much or as more. And so it's not, hey, I know I'm not the smartest person in the room. I want to surround my person. No, it's not about intelligence, because everybody's got a level of intelligence if they're going to be an entrepreneur. It's what contribution is everybody bringing that brings value to grow this up. Mm-hmm. And so realizing that, I think, as everybody in the room kind of realized, okay, this one guy is not going to be there. And that's okay. Like, if you can't do it or you're not set to do that, that's okay to have somebody exit out. And so that's how I guess I came in, was bringing that awareness to everybody. Like, what is everybody's role? What is everybody doing? Because here's what I can contribute, and I want to, but I want to understand what everybody else is going to do. Hopefully that kind of helps.
Yeah, no, 100%. And then, so that began the journey with you entering into the Perfect Clean. And then, we met just, I mean, it's been about probably a year and a half, because it was like spring of last year is when we first connected. It's actually funny. I definitely want to talk on like how we initially met, but I remember Zach, which is, the other partner in Perfect Clean, his brother, Kelly, had been working with my team, for a little while. And, I remember he was like telling me, he's like, you want to buy into businesses? Like, oh, you got to like talk to my brother, Zach. Like, he has this cool cleaning company thing. And I was just like, okay. And I remember doing like the first initial Zoom with Zach, and he was just telling me about like what's going on with the business and all this amazing stuff. And I remember just at the end, I was just like, yeah, sounds like you guys got everything just handled. Like, I don't know what we could do to help. Zach was just like, he's so like passionate, and like, I was just like, dang, like, they got it. Like, I don't know what we're going to do to help here.
Yeah.
But it was, I remember just like, that initial conversation, and then like, I remember getting off, and Kelly was like, how'd it go? And I was just like, man, it seems like this company's really cool, but like, I don't like, how are we going to help? Like, it seems like everything is freaking already amazing. And he's like, what? He's like, what do you mean? Like, I talked to Zach, and like, there's things that we could do to help. And so it was just funny, because like, that was like the initial, I was like, yeah, like, Zach's a cool guy, but I don't think there's anything here, Kelly.
It's funny you bring up Kelly, because that was one of the ways I was going to explain how we got connected. So yeah, he's Zach's brother. Kelly is extremely talented. He's got a vast wealth of knowledge of the tech world and automations and things that just help businesses, get more automated, to where it's like, okay, I'm replacing myself with automation or technology. And so he was from the very beginning, and and I knew Kelly actually from the pest control industry as well, because he actually went and sold for Zach in one of the locations. And again, this is why I say, be kind to everyone. You never know how those relationships are going to end up helping you develop, personally or in your business or whatever. And so going back to like Zach and Kelly back in pest control, I just really connected well with their personalities. And I just loved, talking to them, working with them. And so we had a good relationship back then. And it just kind of evolved over time to where, okay, now we're jumping into a business together with pest control, or with the cleaning industry. And Kelly was huge in that development and helping us. And then Kelly realized, hey, I've got some other talents, other desires, other passions I want to do. And he went and did that. It was great. We didn't fault Kelly at all for that. Everybody should feel like they have the autonomy and freedom to go do whatever they want to go do that fulfills their purpose. But circling back around 5 years later, after we first started, Kelly's suggesting, hey, you should talk to these guys. And so that's, definitely where the connection kind of came back full circle, was through Kelly. And, I appreciate Kelly a ton. I think he's an integral part of the Perfect Clean, from the inception. And now he's helping us continue to grow that
Yeah.
as we have got back together.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, so for those that are listening, it's uh, I came, in to work with Ryan and Zach at the Perfect Clean. It's at the time of this recording, it's July 2025. We got started June 2025,
Yeah.
and so it's crazy. A year's already passed. It's just like time just freaking moves and moves. But I guess one of the things I'd ask is, as we're talking to other people and looking at partnering with other cleaning companies, and whatever other businesses are out there, it's like I'm curious for you, like why did you want to work with like me, and then like obviously like I have the Skill with Pros team, which is Kelly, which is freaking amazing, and some of the other team members that we have. Like, what was it that made you want to do that?
Yeah, so there's always a story behind these whys. So let me back up. In 2023, we as a group at that time, the owners were like, man, we really think we have something special and cool that could go nationwide. And we were like, how do we do this? How do we just open up another office and spend the money to start that? And we're like, yeah, but I don't want to go run it. And none of us really wanted to go run and go out of state to be there running it. And we didn't want to just find somebody and just hope that they would run it how we would want it ran, because, there's just this disconnect when it's out of state. Well, we came across the idea of franchising. And so we started to build this whole model, everything we did. And it really did help in many ways going that route. Because it systemized a lot of stuff, and really kind of professionalized our SOPs. Like the consultant we used to get there, the lawyer we used to get to, okay, we can franchise, we can open this up. That really did help professionalize the business. So we weren't kind of this mom and pop thing anymore. We were at a level that was, hey, we could be anywhere in any state. And we kind of created that. Well, we started our first franchise in 2025 and thought things were going great.
2024 or 2023?
The first one we sold, I thought it was 2025.
Aren't we in 2025 right now? What year are we
I'm sorry, 2024. You're right. Yeah.
I was like, I'm having Inception. I'm like, am I in the wrong year here?
This year's going by so fast, I thought it was over. 2024, very beginning of the year, we sold a franchise and had it set up. We thought the best people to get us off the ground for our first location to where we could expand into other markets. And it didn't go as we thought. And it really kind of was an ego killer. It did some other things for us. Like I said, there was some indirect benefits of professionalizing the Perfect Clean. Getting us more, serious about what we were doing. There was a lot of benefits of it. But one of the things that we saw was we need to change up who is contributing. Kind of going back to the very beginning when I came in, we had to kind of look at ourselves and go, who's doing what? Who's contributing to this whole system of participating as an owner? And, that just reset everything for us, and we're like, it's really down to what Zach and I are doing. But we knew we needed other help. We knew we couldn't just the two of us do it on our own, even though we kind of felt like we were doing everything between the two of us. At that point. And so we transitioned the change of ownership through 3 partners down to 2. Zach and I were like, we need help though. Like, we can't do this all on our own. I think that's where that connection to Kelly came back into play. He knew that Zach was looking for more help. And you guys weren't the only one. There was another person I was talking to come in.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about
just
that.
A financial thing instead of a contributing of assistance through administration or back end office things or things like that. But yeah, once we got put together, that meeting we had, it was like around 8 o'clock at night on a Tuesday or something, and you came down.
Yeah, we had the whiteboard. We had the whiteboard up in your office, and yeah.
Love that whiteboard. IKEA, if you need a good whiteboard, go to IKEA. They have a rolling whiteboard. It's really nice. Anyways, we get on there and you ask the question, what are your core values? And I thought I had a pretty good answer for it. And so I started to kind of explain, but quickly I could understand, like, I really don't have that part like perfectly known. Like, I'm kind of pulling things out of the air instead of something that is written, something that is preached, something that is understood by everybody in the company. It was just more like, this is what's in my head, and I think we run, our business by these core values. And then you shared what your core values were, and I'm like, oh, I like those way better. Those are really good. And then there was the lever pulling, and hey, pulling this one little lever is going to make this kind of an impact, and that's what we need to focus on. And I mean, everything you were saying, I was like, man, this guy's really smart. Okay. Like I said, it's not about the smartest person in the room. It's about the contribution that people can make. And I'm like, this guy's going to contribute. I can tell right now, just on this whiteboard, the contribution I'm feeling right now, to where it's like, yeah, that's what we've been missing in this third part of our ownership, is the contribution of this. And this was just direction, guidance, like leading the ship to a vision that we all had. Zach and I were good visionaries, but we just needed the
you guys had the vision of what you wanted it to be already. Yeah.
So anyways, that was that first meetup where I felt, this guy's got the contribution we were missing and we need. Let's keep going. Let's keep dating and see if we want to get married. And every meeting after
that's a lesson for everyone listening. It's like when you're considering partnerships, like making sure, to your point, it's like there's contributions in opposite areas too. It's like if we were all there and we're like, we all just want to push sales, and it's like, well, that's who's going to do who's going to like think about the other stuff in the business, and like what else is, how is that going to get taken care of, right? And the conversations in the partnership, like, I didn't want to interrupt you too much, but just where we talked about, it's like, hey, like, what does success look like together? Like, what does success look like if, like, it doesn't work out? Like, how do we want to handle that? Or, like, how do we, just, like, having conversations that, for those listening, like, you should have these conversations. And they're not always fun conversations, but it's a lot easier to, like, get on the same page, so you're, like, going in that clear direction. And over time, things change and like you have to adjust, but like it helps having a lot of that upfront to know what you're getting into before just jumping in and getting started.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up, because I remember those and they were uncomfortable, because I was like, I never thought about this, and thinking about it scares me. Like, that's scary to have this conversation of, well, what if it doesn't work out? What do we do then? I'm like, well, why wouldn't it work out? It's going to work out. Like, I'm a pretty optimistic person. And I don't want to think about things that scare me. Just dread of, hey, I got to protect myself, flight or flight. I want to go there. But having those conversations actually just kind of helped clear the air to go, okay, we know there's this. This is what we want to be doing and how we're going to get there. But just in case, we just need to know that there's this out there.
Yeah.
And that actually builds so much more trust with the partnership, because everybody's on the same page at that point with, hey, we're all aiming for this, but we also know this is, what could happen.
Yeah. And I think more people, especially people listening, it's like having those conversations, and, where that came from for me of like, we got to talk about this stuff was in our virtual assistant business, we had a partner that, like, we started crushing it, and, they were accountable for a certain function, and then they were making good money, and then they started, other businesses, and then they were making money from those, and then weren't doing any of the things they were supposed to fulfill on anymore, and
Right.
in that business, and it got to the point, and that was like one of the most. It was like I was like in it was like a 6 month window of just like extreme stress of like, man, like because we were working on, we had to then buy this partner out, and it ended up costing close to $800,000, and having to do this, we're growing, and so the more we're having to pay, like, and he's like kind of stalling out the process of like getting a finalized deal together to actually buy him out. And so I'm like, not only fulfilling like the things we have to do day to day and the role that he's not doing, but also we're adding value to then have to pay him more money, and dealing with the business appraiser and all of that. And I was just like, this is terrible. This sucks.
Yeah.
so for me, that was like, man, like, I just gotta talk about these things up front, and it's just like having those things like more clear up at the front end, because it's at the front end, it's like when optimism's at peak high levels, and it's like everything's gonna be great, but like, when you could have those conversations up front, and then when there's challenges, like, we can come back to like, okay, well, one, why are we all doing this, and then two, like, what are the things that we're all promising to contribute to the business. And so but yeah, I just went on a tangent there, but man, like, it's good to have those conversations.
It's funny, when I think back to the pest control industry that we were in, and we had offices that had a great start and made a lot of money quickly. We had offices that took forever, some that never made money until we sold the location to a buyer. Every time that location started to profit and make money, boy, things changed with the owners. Kind of to your point of like what you said, where people just started, oh, hey, I'm comfortable now, I'm not going to work as hard. And if there's anything I would like advise somebody that's getting into a business, make sure you have some very clear expectations with your ops agreement of, even when we're making money, people are still contributing at a level that's appropriate, because man, it is hard when money starts coming in, how people will change. So anyway,
that's interesting, because like from some past experiences where I've had challenges, and I won't mention any of the other companies because I don't want to call people out, but some of the things was like when it came to like cash shortages in businesses, and it's like there's a capital call, and it's just like, where is everybody? Money needs to go into this thing.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Anyone? No? Just, okay, I guess I'll have to do it. Like, that was like, thankfully I haven't had, and that obviously that story that I just shared, like that was a challenge. But, in some of the other experiences where it just like when money is coming in, it's like great, like everyone can, take money out. But then when there's like, oh, like money has to go in, it's like, it's like, at the restaurant, like the waiter brings the bill, and like everyone's like,
I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Yeah, it's like, hang on a second here.
Yeah, so either way, I mean, it's hard when money becomes an issue, whether on the negative side or the positive side. It can if you don't talk about it. So
I think it's like those same lessons like then like are good for just like relationships in general. It's like before getting married, I don't know, talk about, do you want to have kids? Do you, what religion do you believe in? Like, is that going to be an issue? Where do you want to live? How do you want to raise the kids? How do you want to, how do you want your days to be? Like, oh, what happens if family members get sick? Are you moving them into your house and they're going to live at our house together, and like we're going to take care of that? Or,
hey,
it's like,
what if crap hits the fan? And we're on the brink of divorce. What are you going to do? Are you going to quit? Are you going to pull together and let's try to make this work? Or, what's the involvement of your in-laws going to be? Like, where are you at? What trauma have you dealt with growing up that I've got to be aware of? I'm not saying it's going to make or break the deal. I just need to know what I'm getting into. So,
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just, and I think you could have like a better place of understanding in those situations too, of like, okay, like I know, the uh, the experiences this person has had, and that makes it helpful to understand the, where they're coming from when there's like certain things coming up, whether in, business or whether in, those personal relationships. So I think it's good. So going back, I know I took us on this side
Yeah,
quest
yeah, it's
journey
fine.
there. We were talking about the whiteboard, and so we'll circle back there. But yeah, continue.
So when we got kind of into that dating phase of, okay, next steps, right? Like, okay, next meeting is going to be this thing. I just really loved how everything progressed. But one of the key people that I really enjoyed was Ben, who's the
Yeah,
CFO. It was just so
yeah,
nice and refreshing to hear somebody that was so positive about things that were uncomfortable in the finances, right? Like, hey guys, yeah, that there's this, but there's also this opportunity here. Like, he was so
yeah,
good about not making us feel bad about a line item that's like, yeah, you spend a lot of money here. That's bad. He didn't make us feel like that.
yeah,
He just says, hey, we've
yeah,
got this, but that's an opportunity because if we can just, pull this lever, that's going to change this, and all of a sudden, boom, you've got more profit at the end. That
yeah,
was really refreshing to me, and actually kind of a good lesson for me because I was not that way as a CFO. I was just like, do whatever you want. We don't need any limits. We don't need this. Just go buy, spend. We're growing. We're in growth mode. I was a little more free spirit as CFO, but he was great because it was boundaries with some kind of freedom to do, because he
yeah,
understood that freedom promoted or gave to opportunity. One of the
yeah.
greatest ones was just the ROAS. Is that what he calls it? The on the marketing spend.
Return on ad spend. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, I really loved his mindset about that. Was like, dude, if we find that we can gain a customer at this rate and that's kind of the target, then spend all the money we can on that because we just need to get as many customers. And I'm like, oh, okay, I like this CFO. Like he's good to spend. So
yeah,
when it makes
yeah.
sense, right?
Yeah, it's like it's the date. It's like the not saying no because it's like, oh, just don't spend money and like just like holding the purse, of like, oh, we shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
It's like, why are we? And I think that's where when I interviewed Ben, I think we were in that interview, like it was one of the longest interviews I ever had. I think it was like hours. Like he was just at the office and like he was grilling me and then I was grilling him and like we were going back and forth and he's like, I remember in the interview, he's like, you guys shouldn't hire me. You guys are too small to hire me. This isn't a good idea for your business. And I was just like, no, this is where we're going, and we'll need you where we're going.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't take someone that's not at the level that we need for where we're going. I was like, you got to believe it's gonna happen,
Yeah. Absolutely.
But he's great in that way of like challenging, but also like understanding it's like, hey, we don't want to restrict growth of the business, and and that's just another example on like the ROAS. It's like, yeah, if we get out a few dollars for every dollar we put in, what is our budget? As much as we could spend and continue doing that.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that's important when you
Yeah.
are kind of acquiring a
So
company or
go
moving
ahead.
into like, hey, we're going to merge or whatever. It's like, do your visions line up on a general, on a broad general thing? Is like, hey, are we all headed to this one place, or is there something that's making us feel like we're going to have to hold back? And it's like, I never felt that from you guys at all. I mean, the team that the next thing I want to talk about is when you guys came out for a discovery day to see our back end operations.
Yeah.
And that always scares me because it's ugly. Like our office building is ugly. I hate it. I don't like it. Our washing machine that does the rags and just the way it's where the sausage gets made, and it definitely looks
Yeah.
like sausage is getting made there. But that's
Yeah.
not what customers see. Like they see us arriving in a clean looking car and showing up to their house all
Yeah.
professional and having a little script of, hey, we're the perfect clean. Are you ready for us to come in? Great. Here's what we do. Here's our checklist. Like, we've got that process really figured out. It's the the behind the scenes. I'm like, ugh, I don't want anyone to see this. And you guys were just like, this is great. This is awesome. This is how it works. Like, this is what it should look like. It's a little messy in here because that's not what the customer's ever going to see. The customer's going to see this end product that they think that is the perfect clean, which that's what we want them to see, you know?
Yeah.
I loved that day when you guys came out. It was just fun because I was nervous, and then I just kind of relaxed. I was like, oh, these guys are accepting. Like, they get it. They know what it's like to run a business. The back end's going to look ugly.
Business is messy, and it's always messy, and it just forever is going forward. And, you know, I talked to, you know, for those listening, Jeff Mask has been a leadership coach to me for a couple years, and, you know, Ryan's and, you know, the leadership trainings and stuff with him. And, you know, I've talked to Jeff about this, and I was like, at what point in Jeff Mask, he was a key leadership at Infusionsoft, and they grew to over $100 million a year. And I remember, I was like, Jeff, like, when did like Infusionsoft just have it dialed in and it like wasn't like a mess? Like, because I just feel like it's always like that for forever. Like, you fix issues in an area, and then you work on another area, and it's just like this like thing forever. And I remember he just like laughed, and he's like, never. He's like, it was a mess always. He's like, but he's like, not in a bad way. It's just like as you're growing, like, growth is messy. And then, you know, as you're growing, you're fixing processes, and you're making new processes, and you're making new hires. And so it's just like, it's an ever evolving thing. And so that was something that always made me feel better, because I'm like, okay, you know, we're not just a mess. It's just, this is just what business is it's a consistent, changing, living, breathing organism.
Yeah, my favorite thing, and kind of play off of that, is just keep that train on the tracks so it doesn't come off. But
yeah,
I just want it to just barely stay on the tracks. You're okay.
Yeah, I love that. So then fast forward. So this last year, you know, what's kind of happened with the Perfect Clean?
Yeah, so I mean, we were consistently for 2 years prior, so 2024, 2023.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say 2022 as well, but I can't remember. I have to go back and look at the numbers. But I'm pretty sure we were just flat at like $2 million revenue. Profit, I don't know. It was hard to really determine what it was, but I bet it was 5%. Within those years, and that was struggle, right? Like, we're just kind of hitting this plateau, but we know we need to go higher. We want to go higher. We want more profit. We want, you know, more income. We want to grow. We want to get further out there. I mean, that whole franchise thing was kind of that thought we had, and then that kind of blew up in our face, and we're just like, how are we going to do this? So that was kind of the trajectory again. As we met up with you guys, we're going to end with $2 million in sales, and it took about 3 months. We started in June, so June, July, August. Yeah, it took 4 months. September, and then October came, and we're like, okay, we got to start implementing all these foundational things that we've been working on since June. We've been really pulling levers on the finance side of reducing costs, trying to figure out the marketing. Like, it was every lever you could pull, we were pulling it. And then November, I don't know what happened, but we took off. And all of a sudden we were on this path of, okay, if we can keep that going, we could do 2.2 million in sales in a year. Mm-hmm. Then December hit, we beat November. And it was like, okay, now we're at like 2.3. Then January, February, every month since October, we've done better than the previous month. And so last month, June, I think we're on a path of like 3.5, almost 4 million now, based on what we did in June.
Close to a 4 million run rate, yeah.
So you think about that, it's like, okay, in basically a year, we've doubled revenue, but the profit, the thing that really matters.
Yeah, revenue is vanity, everybody.
Tripled,
profit
if not
is sanity.
quadrupled what it was at. You know, we were probably running at about a 5% profit margin. Now we're running 20. So we've quadrupled the profit while increasing revenue. That was huge. Like that is the difference maker for sure. So that's kind of what we've been doing the last year.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else to say because that's the most exciting thing to say. We've doubled sales and quadrupled profit. Like who wouldn't want that?
Yeah, it's like, that's what we're going for. That's the goal, and consistently doing better. So what were the biggest things that you felt like you learned over this last year and all of that adventure where for me, when in those first 2 months I was like, man, like it's, I felt like it kind of was like, all right, like when are we going to get the lift? When are we going to start getting the lift,
Yeah. And it was funny too because summer is like the worst time for home cleaning because everyone goes on vacation, and so their routines and their recurring services, they just kind of like, oh, I'm going to pause it. I'll pick it back up in August. It's crazy to think June was the best month we've had ever.
Yeah.
This year. And July is looking like it's going to be on track to do the same thing. But as far as like things I learned like it doesn't matter how old you are, how long you've been into entrepreneurship or whatever industry you've been in, you can always learn something. You can always get better at something. Even if it's 1% better, you can always get better. This year, personally and physically, I've been working on doing push-ups.
Yeah.
And
how many are you at a day now?
So I do every day 400 right now. And the track was in January, I'm going to do 100 every day. And then in February, I'll do 150 every day. And then I just kept increasing that month by month by 50 more on each day. I hope that makes sense. But right now I do 400 every day in the month of July. And what I learned from that was chop wood, carry water, and you can get to where you can do more of it. And so that first month of January, I was like, okay, I'm going to do 100. I mean, you know how hard it is to do 100 when you haven't done any? You're doing like 20 at a time, and it takes you 10 minutes to do it. And, you may not think, 10 minutes, that's not very long. You're struggling. Like, it's just like, I still got 40 more to go. Like, I'm spent. I'm exhausted. And then the worst part is the next day after you've done it. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sore. I don't think I can do 5. But I'm going to do this. And so you figure out how you're going to do it, and you do it. And you get it done.
Yeah.
And then the next day, you're like, I'm still going to carry this water, and I'm going to keep chopping this wood.
Yeah.
And I don't care how hard it is. I'm just going to keep doing it. And I believe that it will get better. Well, by the end of January, I was able to do 40, 40, and 20.
No.
So, and I wasn't sore the next day. And I was like, hey, that's a good accomplishment. I've been able to chop wood, carry this water in a more efficient, quicker way, and I'm not killing myself by the next day. I can do it again.
Yeah.
Then here comes February. Okay, I'm going to add on 50 more. So, kind of going back to the perfect clean, we're having our best month every month. Next month's going to be our next best month. So I'm adding more revenue. I'm adding more services to do. But because I'm in such a consistent basis of chop wood, carry water, keep doing this over and over, and try to push myself daily to do it, it's okay when you have to add more on next month. Because your body or your business has been able to get into this routine of we can handle that. We can handle that. We've kind of figured out what nuances need to be true for us to do this so that we can keep growing. And I think that's just the biggest thing I've learned is just keep going. No matter how hard yesterday was, just make today happen. And just be consistent with what you did yesterday. Do it again today. And then that next month, okay, now we're going to do more. And we got to be consistent at it.
Yes.
And keep those SOPs and the processes and automations and marketing. Just keep doing it. And just believe and it will happen. There, Ted Lasso for you. Believe.
Yeah. I always love this thing. It's like chop wood, carry water. It's like, I think sometimes, especially when something starts to work, sometimes we can, I think it's like an entrepreneurial tendency too, is just like, all right, what can we go and start changing up and like, meddling with change. It's just like, okay, what we're doing is working. let's just do more of the thing that's working and continue to just make it better and do it over again and over
Yeah.
again and over again. And I think that's where a lot of business owners that are, they're trying to scale, maybe it's like 6 to 7 figures, and they're trying to go to the next level. They're changing, and they're changing what they're doing too frequently to get the compound effect of the consistency of the result. It's like the push-ups. It's like, yeah, if you do 100 push-ups today, but then you don't do them again until next month, and you're going to be sore, the same sore, but you don't actually like move forward. And I feel like that same thing happens in business. And I think going back to like the chop wood, carry water, that's also where like the data comes in of, okay, are we making a decision off of the data, or are we just getting like entrepreneurially bored with what's going on, so we want to like throw in a wrench in the thing and like, let's just change what we're doing. It's like, let's just do more of the thing that's working, which is oftentimes the more boring thing to do. But it's yeah.
I was looking for a book and I can't find it because I can't remember the title, but it has to do with pivoting. Gosh, I don't remember where I put that book. Anyways, I think that's what entrepreneurs start to feel like they need to do is, we need to pivot. Just for the sake of pivoting. Like, we need to do this because that looks fun or that looks exciting. And the challenge of pivoting to something else will keep me engaged. And it's like, if you can just lock in, like you're saying, to just doing what works and then just keep doing more of that works, that I think is the challenge that makes entrepreneurship fun. Where, I'm growing an empire here. I'm not just growing a stream of revenue that's got a one hit or a big hit at the end, or I'm going to grow this to a point to just sell it off. Like, no, I'm trying to grow something that's massive. And it just takes that consistency and that growth every day of just continuing to do the same thing. So,
yeah, man, it's been an exciting adventure. So what's the the vision and the goals, the next couple of years with the Perfect Clean for those that are
it's been fun to kind of see such a transformation from last year to this year. Like I said, we've doubled in just revenue, and then quadrupled in profit. And it's like,
more importantly, quadruple in profit.
Yeah, I mean that's really the important one, right? But what I think I know that we're more excited about is, okay, where can we really take this thing, and how quick can we get there? So the goal right now is, all right, we want to get to a $20 million top line revenue with that same profit margin to get us $4 million in profit. And do that by the end of 2027. So I guess 2.5 years from now.
Yeah.
And having to work it backwards to like, okay, there's the goal in mind. Now, what needs to be true to get there? And doing the math and doing the calculations and doing what we need to do, and then breaking it down to like month to month. Like, okay, next month we've got to do this to stay on track. It helps us to go, okay, we can do those little increments. So our next month is our best month because we know what we've got to do to get to that next best month. But that's, I guess, the end goal of what we're doing right now, just to get for the next 2 years. And then we'll see where it goes from there. I think we get to that point and then we reassess, and maybe along the way we reassess like, okay, what's the next thing we want to get to for 2 years out? But I don't like having this 10-year plan. I don't like having 5-year plans even. I just want, what can I get to in 2 years? Because that gets me a little more engaged with the challenge.
Yeah.
Too far
10
out,
years
like I'm going to find something else to do.
Yeah. It's shorter enough time horizon, and it's like, I have on my board, it's like we need 123 cars, 6,944 cleans a month. I mean that's some average numbers that we have, which could change if we improve some of the numbers and reduce some costs in some areas. But I think for those business owners listening too, it's like knowing what your numbers need to be. So Ryan, we had a little like Skill with Pros meetup yesterday, and I was asking people in the room, it's like, do they does anyone know like what like because there's some pest guys or some window cleaning guys and plumbing and bunch of different types of businesses in there. And I was like, does anyone know like what their tech needs to make on a monthly basis to make sure the company is actually in a profitable place and before you get the next tech? And like no one had any idea. They're like, I have no idea. And people were just like, yeah, and then so I was like, well, so how do you guys decide whether you get another truck to do more pest or to you hire another plumber? And they're like, when we just start to feel overwhelmed, we do it. And it's like, okay, well, that's yes, that at some point when you're too overwhelmed could mean you need help, but there needs to be like some strategy behind that too. And so I think that's one of the things that and sometimes maybe I'm like, I don't know if I look at it too much into the weeds of it. It's just like it needs to be exactly this, but it's I think that's been, for me, one of like the greatest lessons that I've learned from Adam Coffey that we're both learning from, as well, is that it's just like having the business work small so it can work huge. It's like if we could make it successful and profitable, at one car and one cleaning team, we could make it successful and profitable at 123 cars and cleaning teams. It's just duplicating that same thing over and over again, which is such a cool thing because you can make it real that way.
Yeah, I was just going to give you an update on one of the rocks that we have, which is, okay, at what point do we know we need to buy another car, and how are we measuring that? Sonia and I figured that out today, and now we've got it on the L10 scorecard where it's like, okay, this number, when it's starting to get to this level, we know that's when we need to buy another car. So we finished her rock today is basically what I'm giving you an update on. Awesome. I love getting into the weeds, and I think it's important to get in the weeds to get to those measurements you can check into every week and go, okay, where are we at? Like, again, going back to chop wood, carry water, doing the consistent things, having your L10s weekly is critical. Like those meetings should never not happen. Even if key people aren't there, it's okay. Everybody should be, or those that can be there, make sure that meeting happens, because those numbers are critical to look at. They're not just phantom numbers that we just put in the scorecard. They mean something. They tell a story of what just happened.
Yeah, and it's like, and then making decisions off of the data too. It's that's another thing, and we were talking about that, and then for those we're like, what the heck's an L10? Basically, our weekly meeting, our weekly leadership meeting that we do each week, and we were talking about in the one, I think there was a change being recommended, like, oh, like maybe we change this, and it's like, okay, what is the problem that we're trying to solve, and where is this showing up in the data that's causing us to believe that this change needs to happen? And I know I could be susceptible to that too, because sometimes we get our own gut intuition feelings of like, I feel like we should do this, and it's like we got to go back to the data, and it's like, okay, what do we actually need to do here, and are we trying to solve for the right problem? And that's where I think those meetings are super helpful, and having the scorecard to, okay, if we're gonna make some big major change, are we doing it based off of data or gut? And it's like, if when all else fails, it's like, oh, I'll trust in the data.
I'm so glad you brought that up yesterday in our L10, because then they went back to look at the data we were putting in there and go, oh, garbage in, garbage out. Like, we've been putting garbage data in to report on these numbers. So yeah, here we are making decisions and SOPs and spending time together as a group, talking about something that doesn't even exist because the data wasn't really being put in correctly. So once it got called out by you, people had to go dig for it, and they're like, oh shoot, we're not even putting this in here right. So it is critical that you just are constantly having that L10 meeting, digging and asking questions about the data. Because you do get these gut feelings, right? But if you don't have something to support it, it's just a gut feeling. And that's I think, I don't remember if I had told you about this book, but for those that are listening, there's a book called The Road Less Stupid by Keith Cunningham. Did I tell you about that book? Yeah, well, it's the same guy that wrote the one about the blueprint.
Yeah, that one too. Yeah, both of them are good. But I get some of like I try to go back to and like review that book regularly. And those for those listening, it talks about a lot just think time and like questions to try to instead of just trying to like make decisions on things so quickly. It's just like asking a question about it to try to like pull out more information before just deciding on something. And there's just so many good questions in that book where just every chapter it's like here's 5 to 7 deep questions to make you question everything you're doing and how you're going to make a decision on this in the future. And so just I think the better quality questions that we ask, the better quality answers that we'll get overall,
so you brought up Jeff Mask, and he's got a pattern of fixing problems through questions that I've got right here on my laptop, sticky note. Sits here every time because that's what we deal with, right? As leaders, you're dealing with problems all day, and that's good. That's what you should be doing. Is how do we fix this problem? Problem of marketing, a problem of operations, whatever it is. But the very first question is, what is the problem? What are possible solutions? And if you had a magic wand, what would you do? Like, that first question though, what is the problem? Like, if you don't even know what your problem is, if you can't even get to the problem, that's the problem. Like, you got to figure out what is the problem. Like, are you attacking a symptom or do you really understand what the problem is? Because once you do, I think it's pretty easy to come up with solutions to pull what lever to fix those things. But
yeah, I feel like that's most times in business is it's like the solutions come down to a simple thing to do, but it's like unpacking and like pulling the cobwebs out of all of the things and just getting it down to narrowing in on like, okay, this is the actual problem.
Right.
And then determining what things to do first. Because that's also another challenge in businesses too, is like you can look at a business and it's like, oh my gosh, like there's problems in all of these departments. And it's like, well, which one do you solve first? Which one's going to make the actual impact that we want to see to be able to grow and go to the next level? And so it's it's a summitless mountain, as Jeff would say.
The summitless mountain that we're climbing.
Yeah, exactly. So I know we're going over on time, so I want to be respectful of that. But as we're coming up to the close, so obviously for those that are listening, something that Ryan, myself, and Zach are doing is we're looking to partner with or acquire other residential cleaning companies. At the time of this recording in the Southwest region, primarily in Arizona, also looking at Dallas. So if anyone listening knows someone that would love to have some great partners invest into their business and help them grow and scale and do some amazing things together, putting that out there, we're looking for great people to work with and do that with. So but outside of that, Ryan, where can people connect with you? I know you're not all over social media and all of that, but where can people connect with you?
So I'm on 3 things. I am on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Instagram, I'm more the personal stuff, so I don't really try to connect too well there.
So LinkedIn
or Facebook. I'm good either one of those. So
awesome. And so what's the final words of advice you'd offer to anyone that's going through it? They're going through maybe a hard time in the business and trying to get to that next level. What's something that you'd give to them to keep pushing forward?
Yeah, in an effort to try to be original from things I've already said, I'm not going to try to do that. I'm going to just repeat what I've said before, which is tell the customer what you can do. Find out, discover what is it you can do, and then do that. And tell the customer what it is that you can do. Don't ever tell the customer what you can't do. It's just a waste of your time and theirs. But the other thing is chop wood, carry water. I mean, the consistency and being frequent with it is true principle in social media. If you're using that as marketing, the algorithms want to see consistency in that frequency. And so whatever your frequency is, if it's weekly or daily or whatever you're doing, just be consistent at it, and then just do a little bit more every month. It's what I've done personally through some physical stuff, And it definitely was what we did with the Perfect Clean over this last year. So maybe that's too boring of an answer for some people, but it worked.
No, I mean, it's not the sexy thing of like here's to get rich quick
Right.
overnight. It's just, but that's people listening to this. Hopefully by now I don't know. This is probably close to somewhere around episode 70 or low 70s. So people listening to this know this isn't the place to go to get the sexy get rich quick thing. This is the tactical. Hey, here's real things to do to make your business better and go to the next level. So,
Yep.
well, Ryan, thank you so much for taking the time, and for everybody listening. See you guys in the next episode.
You're welcome. Thank you. Appreciate it.